Hello, dear students. Today, let us do the second chapter of your social and political life, that is civics, and the name of the topic is Understanding Secularism. Secularism is the principle of separation of the state from religious institutions. Boys, our country, India, is a secular country. So, we are going to learn what is secularism. So the chapter is based on that secularism. Imagine yourself as a Hindu or Muslim living in a part of the United States of America where Christian fundamentalism is very powerful. You yourself, you imagine you are a Hindu or Muslim and you are living in a part of the USA where Christian fundamentalism is very powerful. You know, USA, maximum people of USA, they belongs to this Christian community. So as a Hindu or Muslims, you are there. Then suppose that despite being a US citizens, no one is willing to rent their house to you. Suppose you just think that despite you are a citizen of US, but no one is willing to provide you rent house, how would this make you feel? How will you feel at the time? Would it not make you feel resentful? What if you decided to complain against this discrimination and we are told to go back to India? So, what if you decided to complain against this discrimination, which is not, that means, looking you in the same regards as other citizens they are getting there, and were told to go back to India, and they told you to back to your country, India. Would this not make you feel angry? Your anger could take two forms. So, if they happen to say you like this, you go back to India, then at the time, would this not make you feel angry? Here, your anger could take two forms. It may go in two ways. First, you might react by saying that Christians should get the same treatment in places where Hindus and Muslims are in a majority. So, first, you might react by saying that Christians also should get the same treatment as you got there in US, in places where Hindus and Muslims are in a majority. There, this Christian also must get some treatment. This is a form of retaliation. It is a form of counterattack, boys. Or you might take the view that there should be justice for all. Or you might take the view that there should be justice for everyone. Everyone should get justice. You may fight stating that no one should be discriminated against on grounds of their religious practices and beliefs. Here you may fight by saying that no one should be discriminated against on the basis of their religious practices and beliefs. This statement rests on the assumption that all forms of domination related to religion should end. This statement, it rests on the it will taken for granted that all forms of domination, means the exercise of power related to religion, should end. It should be stopped so that everyone can get equal rights. This is the essence of secularism. So it is the basic of secularism. In this chapter, you will read more about what this means in the Indian context. So this very chapter, here in this chapter, we are going to learn what this means in the Indian context. Let us see. History provides us with many examples of discrimination, exclusion, and persecution on the grounds of religion. History provides us with many examples. It has given us many examples of discrimination or exclusion and persecution. Persecution means hostility and ill treatment, especially because of race or political or religious beliefs. On the basis of that, ill treatment which is going on the grounds of religion. You may have read about how Jews were persecuted in Hitler's Germany and how several millions were killed. Children, you may have read about that, how Jews were persecuted, how Jews were ill treated there, in which persecuted in Hitler's Germany. In Germany, that means how those Jews were ill treated. You may have read about that, and how several millions were killed there. Now, however, the Jewish state of Israel treats its own Muslim and Christian minorities quite badly. So, now, however, the Jewish state of Israel is a state of Jewish. So, Israel treats its own Muslim and Christian minorities quite badly. In Saudi Arabia, non-Muslims are not allowed to build a temple, church, a chitra, and nor can they gather in a public place for prayers. In Saudi Arabia, non-Muslims, other than Muslims, they are not allowed to build any temple or any church. They can do prayer at their home, but in a public place, they are not allowed to gather for prayers. Individually, they can do at home, but in a public place, they are not allowed for prayer. In all of the above examples, members of one religious community either persecute or discriminate against members of other religious communities. So, in all of the above examples which is cited here, we observe members of one religious community either ill-treated or discriminate against members of other religious group. These acts of discrimination take place more easily when one religion is given official recognition by the state at the expense of other religions. So these acts of discrimination, this type of discrimination, it take place more easily when one religion has given more emphasis, given official recognition by the state at the expense of other religions. Means if one religion has supported, one religion has supported nicely by providing different privileges, then such thing happen. Clearly, no one would wish to be discriminated against because of their religion nor dominated by another religion. So clearly, no one like to be discriminated against because of their religion, nor dominated by another religion, or that means they should not be ruled by other religion. Everyone dislike it. In India, can the state discriminate against citizens on the ground of their religion? In our country, India, boys, can the state discriminate against any citizen on the basis of their religion? Answer will be no. What is secularism? It is because of why, that means no one can discriminate against uh, citizens on the ground of their religion in our country. It is because of our country is a secular country where every religions are treated equal. So now let us see what is secularism. In the previous chapter, you read about how the Indian Constitution contains fundamental rights that protect us against state power as well as against the tyranny of the majority. In last chapter, we got there. You have learned that how the Indian Constitution, it contains fundamental rights. The Constitution, Indian Constitution, that means, so what are the fundamental rights granted for us and that protect us against state power as well as against the tyranny of the majority. So in order to save us from the hand of majority, so our constitution maker, they have already made these fundamental rights. It is for the benefit of the people. The Indian Constitution allows individuals the freedom to live by their religious beliefs and practices as they interpret this. So Indian Constitution, it allows every individual person, Constitution has given freedom to live by their religious beliefs. Whoever, that means whatever religions they are practicing, they can practice it. No one can oppose it because this is our constitutional right. And we can practice it as they interpret this. I can explain the meaning of this. In keeping with this idea of religious freedom for all, India also adopted a strategy of separating the power of religion and the power of the state. So, in keeping with that idea of religious freedom, the target was, that means, to give freeness to all religious people who are living here. So, India also adopted a strategy. A strategy means a plan of action designed to achieve a long term or overall aim. See, the overall aim of separating the power of religion and power of the state. Secularism refers to this separation of religion from the state. So secularism refers to this separation of religion from the state. Now let us see, why is it important to separate religion from the state? Why it becomes important in order to separate a religion from the state? As discussed above, the most important aspect of secularism is the separation of religion from state power. So, both you mark it, you underline the sentence. The most important aspect of secularism is separation of religion from state power. What is the most important aspect of secularism? If anybody asks you, you have to answer this. So, it is the most important aspect, boys. And it is the most important aspect of secularism is its separation of religion from state power. This is important for a country to function democratically. Democratically means in accordance with the principles of a democracy. Almost all countries of the world will have more than one religious group living in them. See, almost all countries of the world, they will have more than one religious people or group living in them. Within these religious groups, there will most likely be one group that is in a majority. Obviously, within that this religious group, there will be most likely be one group that is in majority. One group they will be in maximum in number. If this majority religious group has access to state power, then it could quite easily use the power and financial resources to discriminate against and persecute person of other religions. So, if this majority religious group has right, access means right here, has right to state power as they are maximum in number, and if they have right to state power, then it could quite easily use this power and financial resources in order to discriminate against the persecute person, against that injustice persons of other religions. So if they have power, then if they have financial resources, there is a chance to discriminate against the persecute persons of other religions. This tyranny, here means tyranny means injustice. This tyranny of the majority could result in the discrimination, coercion, and at times even the killing of religious minorities. So this type of injustice of the majority, it could result, outcome will be in the discrimination, coercion. Coercion means the practice of persuading someone to do something by using force or threats may be given to them, and at times even the killing of religious minorities may arise. The majority could quite easily prevent minorities from practicing their religions. So as they are maximum in number, then the majority could quite easily prevent minorities from practicing their religions. Any form of domination society grants to each and every citizen irrespective of their religion. So any form of control based on religion is in violation of the rights that a democratic society grants to each and every citizen irrespective of their religion. Their religion, which religion, what caste is not a matter. Okay, so on base that, what happened here, any form of control based on religion is in violation. It affects of the rights that a democratic society grants to each and every citizen irrespective of their religion. Therefore, the tyranny of the majority and the violation of fundamental rights that can result is one reason why it is important to separate the state and religion in democratic societies. And that is why the tyranny, you see, that injustice of the majority on the minority and the violation of fundamental rights that can result is one, it might be one reason, is one reason why it is important in order to separate the state and religion in a democratic societies. Okay, in democratic societies, this is important here. Another reason that it is important to separate religion from the state in democratic societies. So here's another reason is here. It is important to separate religion from the state in democratic societies is because we also need to protect the freedom of individual to exit from their religion, embrace another religion, or have the freedom to interpret religious teaching differently. So another reason is there, that is important to separate religion from the state in democratic society. So in democratic, as we are living in democratic society, so it is important because we also need to protect the freedom of individuals. So here we need to protect the freedom of every individual in order to exit from their religion, embrace embrace means to take in the arms another religion, or have the freedom to interpret a religious teachings differently. Interpret means explain the meaning of religious teaching differently. To understand this point better, let us take the practice of untouchability in order to get more clear picture here. To understand it more clearly, let us take the practice of untouchability. This is a social evil, this untouchability, boys. You might feel that you dislike this practice within Hinduism and therefore you want to try and reform it. So you might feel that you dislike this untouchability, practicing of untouchability, this practice within Hinduism, and therefore you want to try and reform it, you want to change it. Then, however, if state power were in the hands of those Hindus who support untouchability, then do you think that you would have an easy task to try and change this? So, just think, um, if state power were in the hands of those Hinduism who support untouchability, then do you think here that it will be easy for you to try and change this reform? Even if you were part of the dominant religious group, you might face a lot of resistance from fellow members of your community. So you too will need or face many problems here. These members who have controlled the state power might say that there is only one interpretation of Hinduism and that you do not have the freedom to interpret this differently. So these members were the members there who have controlled the state power, who are in the ruling party. They might say that there is only one interpretation of Hinduism and that you do not have freedom here. The freedom to interpret this differently. You cannot, that means interpret it differently. Now, boys, let's stop to here for today. Thank you all.